Welcome to weiwat's A Course in Miracles, where we take deep concepts and make them practical, leaving you with those moments of
Wait, what?
Today, we're diving into Chapter 2, Section 6, Fear and Conflict. Why does fear arise? How do internal conflicts fuel it? And how can understanding your mind's creative power bring healing and clarity? We're unpacking how aligning your thoughts can dissolve fear and unlock true peace. This section really pulls back the curtain on fear, how it actually operates in our lives. Think about those moments, your heart in your throat right before a big presentation, or that sudden jolt when you think you see a spider out of the corner of your eye. It feels so involuntary, like a reflex, doesn't it? But here's where A Course in Miracles really shakes things up. It challenges the assumption that fear is automatic, like breathing or blinking. Instead, it proposes that fear is more like craving a donut after dinner. A learned response, not a biological necessity. The genuinely involuntary actions in life, things like kindness or creativity, are rooted in our true nature. Fear, though? That's coming from somewhere else entirely. And this is where it gets fascinating. The Course introduces this concept called level confusion. Now, I know level confusion might sound complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. Imagine you're driving a car. The dashboard in front of you is full of gauges, speedometer, fuel levels, all giving you critical information about how the car is performing. But what if you mistook the dashboard for the driver? You'd believe those gauges were in control, completely forgetting that you, the driver, are the one at the wheel. That's what happens with fear. We get so caught up in the body's signals, the racing heart, the sweaty palms, that we forget the mind is actually calling the shots. When we're fixated on those physical symptoms, we feel powerless. But the truth is, we have a choice in how we react. That's the revelation A Course in Miracles offers. We have far more control over fear than we think. Here's the kicker. Level confusion tricks us into thinking we're being practical by obsessing over what-ifs, trying to stay safe, and avoiding discomfort. But all it really does is keep us stuck. It's like trying to control the weather instead of learning to dance in the rain. So, what's the solution? How do we correct this confusion? The Course cuts right to the heart of it by challenging a huge misconception that we're responsible for our actions, but not our thoughts. But let's be real. Thoughts are the blueprint for everything we do. It's like that saying, watch your thoughts, for they become words. Watch your words, for they become actions. Watch your actions, for they become habits. Watch your habits, for they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. Okay, maybe we added a few extra lines there, but you get the point. It all starts with thoughts, so it's not enough to just try to change behaviors. We need to go deeper and address the underlying thoughts driving everything. Think of it like this. Trying to fix fear by just managing external actions is like cleaning up a spilled glass of milk without addressing the fact that the glass is still tipped over. You can wipe and wipe, but the milk keeps spilling. You've got to deal with the source, not just the symptoms. And I get it. This idea of addressing internal thoughts and beliefs can feel overwhelming. Where do you even start? Fortunately, A Course in Miracles offers practical guidance. It teaches that every time fear pops up, it's signaling a choice we've made, a choice to see ourselves as separate, disconnected from the source of love and support that's always available. Fear isn't something to deny or suppress. Instead, it's like a red flag, a signal that something's a little off in our thinking. It's a chance to pause, recognize the choice, and course correct. This isn't about blaming ourselves for fear. It's about reclaiming our power to choose differently. And that's the exciting part. Every moment of fear is also an opportunity to choose a new path. Now, here's where it gets even more fascinating. The Course introduces this concept of the split mind, which is a major source of fear and conflict. A split mind might sound dramatic, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde territory, but it's not about having an evil twin lurking inside us. It's more about this internal battle, this constant tug of war between two opposing directions. It's exhausting, right? No wonder it creates so much fear. Think about it. When you're pulled in two opposite directions at once, it's like running on a treadmill, but heading nowhere. That inner conflict drains you and leads to anxiety. But what does this split mind actually look like in daily life? Are we talking full-blown identity crises here? Not quite, but it can feel like being at odds with yourself. unable to reconcile what you want, what you believe, or how you see yourself. It's that internal battle that keeps fear alive. Well, the split mind can be a lot subtler than we realize. Sometimes we don't even notice it happening. It sneaks in through two main ways, as described in A Course in Miracles. The first way is through conflicting actions. Conflicting actions happen when we do things that contradict our true desires. For example, agreeing to help a friend move, even though the thought of lugging heavy boxes all day makes you want to hide under the covers. Or saying yes to that extra project at work when your to-do list is already out of control. You're smiling, saying, "Sure, no problem," but inside you're screaming, "No." It's not about being deceptive. It's more that we've become so accustomed to operating from this split place that we barely even notice it. The second way this shows up is through what the Course calls forced behavior. That's when we act in ways we think we should, even if deep down we don't want to. Like squeezing into those skinny jeans that haven't fit since college because you feel like you should be able to wear them. You know you're going to be uncomfortable, but some societal expectation or a story you've told yourself makes you go through with it anyway. We wear these masks pretending to be someone we're not and end up feeling trapped, inauthentic. This inner fragmentation creates turmoil, and the natural tendency is to blame outside circumstances for our unhappiness. Instead of looking inward and asking, "Am I creating this conflict by trying to be someone I'm not?" we point fingers at our boss, the traffic, or the weather, anything but ourselves. It's like we're focused on fixing the symptoms without addressing the root cause. The Course reminds us that true resolution can only come from aligning our minds, making conscious choices that reflect what we truly want. Now, I know aligning your mind can sound like a monumental task. It's like those nature documentaries where you see a flock of birds flying in perfect synchronization. It's beautiful, but how do they even do that? My mind feels more like a room full of puppies, running in every direction at once. But here's the hopeful part. Alignment isn't about controlling every thought or forcing ourselves into some rigid mold. That's not what the Course is suggesting. Instead, it's about tapping into the power of a unified goal, a clear, singular purpose. Think of it like giving your mind a mission statement. When everything in you works toward that one goal, it's not chaotic anymore. It's purposeful, even peaceful. And that's where the magic begins. Something to rally all those adorable, chaotic puppies around? I love that. When our desires clash with our actions, it creates this friction, right? That tension generates fear. It's like that old rowing analogy. Imagine you're in a boat with one oar pulling forward and the other pulling back. You're not going to get very far, and you're going to waste a ton of energy in the process. You'll tire yourself out without making any real progress. And that's the thing. It's not really external circumstances creating fear. It's this internal misalignment. The good news is, A Course in Miracles assures us that we can reach a state where the mind effortlessly follows guidance. Effortlessly. Doesn't that sound amazing? It all comes down to cultivating willingness, a deep understanding that making clear, aligned choices leads to peace and fulfillment. It's not about brute willpower or forcing yourself into submission. It's about recognizing that making aligned choices actually feels good, like choosing the salad over the fries, not because you're punishing yourself, but because you genuinely crave the freshness and lightness. This isn't some grueling self-help regimen. It's a recipe for genuine happiness. But how do we even begin to untangle this mess of conflicting desires and forced behaviors? It can feel like we need a mental Marie Kondo to come in and help us declutter all this baggage. Thankfully, the Course offers a practical approach to correcting this conflict, a step-by-step guide to realigning our minds and hearts. And it starts with a simple but profound act: recognition. Think of it like noticing your flashlight flickering in the dark. The first step to fixing it is simply acknowledging, hey, the light's not steady. It's the same with fear. Step one is saying, fear, I see you. You're here, and I'm not going to pretend you're not. It's about recognizing that there's a conflict, a misalignment inside. No more sweeping things under the rug. This act of recognition is about bringing those shadows into the light. When we give them a voice, we begin to take away their power. Acknowledging the fear is the first step. So, what comes next? Next, we identify the root cause. What's causing that flickering light? According to the Course, The root cause of fear is always a lack of love. Always. This isn't about beating ourselves up for feeling fear. It's about recognizing that in that moment, we've chosen something other than love. We've chosen separation, isolation, this illusion that we're all alone. Recognizing that is the key to beginning the realignment. Okay, so we've recognized the fear and identified its cause, a lack of love. The next step? Recharging those inner batteries and getting our lights shining bright again. That's where the transformative power of the atonement comes in. The atonement, it's a word that really packs a punch. Often we associate it with robes, sermons, or some external process we need to earn or achieve. But A Course in Miracles flips that idea entirely. The atonement isn't something outside of us. It's an inner process. It's about recognizing a truth that's always been there. Our wholeness, our connection with everything and everyone. It's not about fixing something broken, but remembering something we've forgotten. It's like that line from The Lion King. Remember who you are. One of the most profound ways this shows up is through what the Course calls miracles. Now, before you start imagining parting the Red Sea, it's not about those kinds of miracles. While I wouldn't rule that out for you, the miracles the Course describes are far subtler but equally powerful. They're shifts in perception, those moments when we choose love over fear, connection over separation. It could be as simple as forgiving someone who's wronged you or choosing kindness when you feel angry. So miracles aren't about defying the laws of physics. They're about defying the laws of ego. They're tiny revolutions in our own consciousness, breaking free from patterns of fear and separation. Each miracle, each act of choosing love, reinforces our connection to that greater whole, that source of love and support that's always there. It's like tuning your internal radio dial to a different station, one playing peace and understanding instead of fear and judgment. What's so empowering about the Course is how it emphasizes the power of our minds. Now, before we wander into manifest a winning lottery ticket territory, let's clarify. The power of the mind here isn't about wishful thinking. It's about recognizing that our thoughts aren't harmless little butterflies flitting around. They're seeds, capable of growing into mighty oaks. They have real power to shape our experience. The Course challenges us to step into this power, not with arrogance or ego, but with responsibility. It's about understanding that every thought, every belief contributes to the energy we put out into the world. This isn't about forcing ourselves to think happy thoughts all the time. It's about aligning our thoughts with love, healing, and what's truly best for ourselves and others. We're not passive observers in our lives. We're active creators. And when we approach that responsibility with love, the possibilities for peace, fulfillment, and connection are endless. Wow, that's some powerful stuff. We've covered so much ground today, from unraveling the illusion of involuntary fear to the transformative power of the atonement, and even to this profound understanding of the mind as a creative force. What a journey. So as we wrap up, let's think about the key takeaway. For me, the most important thing to remember is this. Fear isn't the enemy. It's a signal, a guidepost pointing us back to love. Every time fear arises, it's an invitation to examine our thoughts, question our beliefs, and choose again. And here's something to ponder as we part ways. What if we started seeing fear not as something to avoid or suppress, but as a catalyst for growth, a doorway to deeper understanding, and a path back to the love that's always present? That shift in perspective could change everything. It's about transforming our relationship with fear, making it a partner in our journey rather than an obstacle. So, keep exploring, keep questioning, and above all, keep choosing love. Thanks for joining me as we explored fear and conflict in weiwat's A Course in Miracles. If today's insight sparked some clarity or inspiration, feel free to share your thoughts, like, and subscribe for more. For more on resolving fear and embracing healing, check out our blog and podcast. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.